Overwhelming, so welcome to Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional development for today's items only. The investment I'm going to talk today would be Ethereum ETH. So it's my second posting as of today. Respective recording time of October 5th at 4:14 p.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum current trade $3,507, up about 3.51% so far. With respect to overall crypto market, it's relatively green today. Besides Solana, it seems like it's selling off down about 2.3% so far. At the same time, with respect to the equity market, it seems like it's kind of trending on a more of a normalized fashion as well. It will subsequently allow crypto to, elevate from there because of a lot of the positive news that we've been mentioning this morning. And we got more positive news, some anticipatory momentum related type of news as well that has been picked up on the media front. So let's just take a look at it on a chronological order, shall we? So with respect to 4 hours ago, CoinDesk talked about Alt-Air upgrade sets to activate on Ethereum mainnets this month. So with that news, talk about a confirmatory date on this specific activation, which will subsequently, be beneficial to the value proposition of Ethereum. And with that, will subsequently drive some imbalance into the price level of Ethereum, driving some anticipatory pressure, but also just with more affectation onto driving more buying activities in the in the supply and demand volume that we're experiencing today, right? Which is one of the reasons why we are surging at the moment right now. On top of the fact that Mark Cuban gave us a stamp of approval earlier last night, and the news got picked up more significantly on Friday, with his depiction saying that Bitcoin is a good hedge if you're looking for value creation in a long-term perspective. And he also said that Ethereum is a good hedge at the same time, as more of a secondary option. So with his stamp of approval, as a shark from Shark Tank, obviously, and relatively notorious billionaire investor, drive some buying pressure from there, right? And then the third whammy that we're also seeing from Bazinga 4 hours ago, talk about Credit Suisse, which is obviously a bank, investment banks more specifically, and they have a predominant European asset management arm. And they have released an article talking about that the Swiss giants will tokenize a Swiss resort on Ethereum. So with that stamp of approval from Credit Suisse, which is a relatively large Swiss banking giants, very reputable one as well, with their stamp of approval, drive some imbalance into the supply and demand dynamics as well, driving the price level for Ethereum to go up as well. And then some other news talk about Everrise launches Everbridge to Ethereum and Polygon network. So it seems like there's another corporate company that is launching on the value proposition as a platform of Ethereum. So another stamp of approval from another corporate company. And then another one from Bitcoiners 7 hours ago, talk about Ethereum position to test $3,500 resistance level, points amid growing investors' interest. And the article is basically talking about investors are basically shifting their holdings from equity holdings and Bitcoin and other altcoin respectively to Ethereum, and which is subsequently drive some preferential treatments onto a buying pressure. And that's the reason also why we're seeing some green pressure across the board. And then another market catalyst that we're also seeing right now is with respect to Bitcoin tops $50,000, while other meme coins gains 50% in the last 24 hours, and they talk about Shiba Inu obviously gained 50% in the last 1 day so far. And with respect to the overall market, Bitcoin is leading the way right now, right? Up about 4.76% above the $51,600 level, which, again, we know that the real level is going to be $53,000 as the peak on the resistance level, which we'll dive into technicals in the short term. And then the next one is talk about on CoinDesk, talk about another news that we already mentioned, Credit Suisse, right, creates Ethereum-based shares in Swiss sports resorts, okay? So let's go dive straight into the technical, shall we? So right now, Ethereum is currently trading at the $3,523, up about 4%. Obviously, with all of the positive news that we've been talking about so far, there has been no negative news talking about Ethereum so far. We have this anticipatory news that's driving some buying pressure. At the same time, the Mark Cuban news, the Credit Suisse news, the drag effects from Bitcoin, the normalizations from the bond yields as well, from the equity market, which anti-correlates. So a lot of bullish pressure that we're seeing right now, right? So with respect to them, and also on the technical front, we knew that we formed a golden cross, so that was a confirmation that we will see some bullishness, right? So right now, we are basically floating in air right now for Ethereum, respectively. We have to go to the next level of 3,843 as the next platform for us to continue the bullishness, right? And ideally break all-time high again to be above the $4,000 mark, which again, we tested, before. We will ideally test it again if the bullishness continues. However, we are at a relatively high overbought level on RSI scale to 60 out of 70. So what's the likelihood of actually leaping all the way to the next, another $300 in the near term? That's something we have to watch for, right? In terms of risk versus reward ratio, I would say the risk is definitely high because of the factors that we identify in the technical front. Also, with respect to the news, it's just been very positive, right? And again, whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast. We still have a gap that we've formed. So in a more risk-averse level, again, right, will be 3,150, 2,700, 2,450, right? So I think the next logical move would technically be 3,150 to dollar cost average first, and wait until that signal of confirmation until we continue the bullishness, right? Because right now, this is basically net canceled out, so it's not really bullish. It's kind of neutral at the moment, despite obviously the golden cross we formed, right? But we overbought, so the selling pressure will be enormously higher as we exponentially grow even higher from here, right? And right now, we have a lot of air that needs to be punched through, so something we have to be cautious of, right? So Bitcoin, we are surging, trying to get to the next level, the 53,000. We are extremely overbought right now at the 68 out of 70. We are forming a golden cross recently, but it's extremely dragged up. So I think the risk is definitely high right now. This is something we know, but mainly driven by obviously the media affectation. Up about close to 5% so far. So I'll probably wait off until buying. I wouldn't chase right now because of the lack of substantive level that we're forming right now. Ideally at the 43, 40, 37, 34. For Dogecoin, we are leaping because of the whole drag effect. We are relatively overbought, and congratulations to you for those that actually bought the dip at the 1950, at the 20 cents. Right now we're at the 2550, trying to get to the next level of the 2681, which we got earlier today. But again, with a relatively large leap to go up to the next level of 31.20. So the likelihood of actually going up there will be relatively low because we are extremely overbought already and the cross section is really dragged up. So I would definitely hold off on waiting until a better confirmation, a better frame for you to buy at. So Cardano right now we just formed a cross. So I think the Cardano surge is imminent, is coming, and it's having a lag effects for some reason right now. It is at a relatively neutral level. So I think Cardano, if you had to buy right now, I think out of all, I think Cardano is relatively good setup at the moment at the current level. But ideally, right, for the better level would be the $2, right? And then Solana we're selling off right now because and this is not a good sign because we are again, right, we are relatively overbought, right? We were at the 66 early today on the scale of 70. And with the cross section that we have, you could see already we are forming some sort of curvature already. So this is not a good sign. I think the sell-off will be coming into the 128 and then subsequently to the 113, which are the right level dollar cost average at, and then the 96. And then for me, 66 is still the level of dollar cost average at. XRP, we tried to get to the 110 today, but we couldn't. But I think with respect to we still have some room to leap up to. Ideally, go back to the 110 and then sell back down as the apex of the curve start to form, and that should do it as we reverse back down. So something to watch out for. I think right now would not be the most optimal level to buy at the moment. So with respect to the market cycle, I know it doesn't look that obvious to you. I know that within the capitulation, the anger stage, or within this, the flat line in terms of the market cycle, it's not going to be a flat line again, right? Even though it looks like one, we're going to see some oscillation. It's not going to be as obvious as you think it is. But if you look back and you match up the market cycle based on how the trends has been looking so far, I believe we are still within the anger and depression stage. I think somewhere in between. I'm still trying to decipher where we at right now in terms of the anger or depression, or are we in the capitulation? I think we are in the anger stage right now, and it's something we have to look out for, and keep an eye out for in a risk mitigation perspective. And into risk mitigating in the more tactical front would be the 3,150, 2,007, 2,450, to dollar cost average for Ethereum right now. I would hold off, just, not now. I think, there are probably better opportunities for us to buy at a later time as the RSI depletes a little bit more. But if you bought in the 4,000 again, let's say you did that like a week ago, just hold for a long term, because 9,800 should technically be in play if the market cycle continues for us to get to close to the 5 digits someday, right? We have a long way to go from here. We're still in the early innings. So hopefully this is helpful. It's my second video as of today. I really appreciate you for dropping by again, and stay tuned for some coming up. Take care. Bye.